The road to nationals for 2021 Flesh and Blood are now upon us, man. And I'm trying to make it to as many in my local area as possible. I'm trying to compete and get out there and start playing the game a lot because it's a lot of fun. And they're really cool prizes, really cool people. And recently I went to the Cloak and Blaster event for the Road to Nationals. I was lucky enough to get eighth place. Had a lot of fun, and I wanted to just tell you my experience about it and tell you about how it went and how I experienced it, man. And overall, I just had a blast. I mean, I've been training a lot with Rob from Talarian Dropouts, and also AG from Adventure Code Gaming. Been playing some games with him. Alex LaPlume, been playing games with him as well, like on on the discords and everything. And I've been watching a lot of gameplay footage of them play and other people play. So it was just really humbling to be a part of it and actually place in the tournament. I was really happy. Overall, let me just tell you how it went. I got there, and you know me, man. I registered my Bravo deck. I'm going for like a control-y Bravo, but what's cool about Bravo is you can put a lot of really cool attack cards in your deck, like Crippling Crush and Righteous Cleansing and a bunch of high attack cards, so you can go on the offensive. But mostly my deck is really control based. I'm blocking stuff out, waiting until a longer game. I'm attacking you with my Gentleman's 4 and my Gentleman's 6. If you don't know what that is, when I play with somebody and I'm just trying to have a good time, man, I'll just say like I'm attacking you with a Gentleman's 6, meaning I don't have a pummel or there's nothing after this. You're just going to take 6 damage here, because it just speeds up the game, It speeds up the game and it makes it more like obvious. And the thing is, if I don't have any resources floating, right? And I have no cards in hand or no one in arsenal, there's nothing I am going to do to trick my opponent there. And it serves me better to just make the game faster. So I just say, hey man, I'm attacking you with a Gentleman's 6 or a Gentleman's 4, Anathos. So just something to note there. But yeah, man, I just like to grind out the game that way because I feel like Bravo, that's his kit, man. I think that there's a lot of decks out there that try to like be really on the aggressive and to attack and beat you down like Chain and Bolton and a bunch of other Dorinthia kind of decks that are just trying to like constantly aggro. I think Bravo, man, he's not like that. He's just chill. He's laid back. He's just blocking stuff out, swinging with his hammer. So that's how we play. But I first started and my first couple of games went good. I versed Dash my first game. Well, I got the win there. I versed two really good chain players, and I won there, and it was very close. And the thing with chain, man, with Bravo, is it's really kind of silly. Basically, you just have to just block everything until late game. And if they have you, they have you. If they don't, they don't. But you're just doing this math game in your head of like, okay, how much should I block with what in my hand, and what should I pitch for the rune chance stuff? It's kind of it's very an interesting way of playing the game. It's completely different from any other matchup because instead of swinging with your hammer, you're not doing that at all. You're just block, 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 and the real thing that can make you have a higher percentage chance of winning is in the beginning of the game. If you're able to do a Blessings of Deliverance or a Sigil of Solace Red, gain some health in the beginning, it puts you so far ahead in that matchup. So I think I really want to emphasize that. For that reason, normally when I play Bravo, I play, Fatiguey Bravo. I'm going for that, 70 card deck, something like a big fat deck so I can just, block out and it's no big deal. There's more to chew in. With the chain matchup, Chain already like mills himself, so I don't really have to worry about that. So I try to run more of a 62 card deck or something smaller so I have a better odds of like getting my healing and all the stuff I need. Also, I have one snag in my deck for that tournament. Maybe I'll run two in the future, possibly three. Snag's just a really good card against Chain, and I mean, once he does this one wind up turn where he does all the seeds, right? And then he does that one card that pluses for every non-attack action card. I forgot it at this current time, but yeah, I mean he can hit for a truck. So if you snag at those moments, you really cut him off from his big combo at the end of the game. So snag is pretty clutch in those moments. So really snag. healing and just surviving with the blocking is how you go against Chain. But again, my games, I was at like 2 health in one of them, and I was at like 6 health in another. Like those things could have gone like either way. I was really I don't know, lucky, but I was just very strategic, and I pulled it out. Um, I then let's see. After my first 3 matches, I went up against a ninja player. Ninja player was really good. His name was AJ. I think he's up in the Jacksonville area with Chris Ray, and he played a really solid game. I mean, I had the advantage early on. I pummeled him a couple of times, but he was just able to grind me out, man. Like I was really impressed about how well he was able to just grind out damage through me and put me to the longer game. The game went to time, but he was able to, at the last minute, like push through extra damage that won. But that was a really good match there. All my matches, I'll have to say, just to say in the middle part of this, all my matches were really good. It was it was 100% great games, as they say, in the Flesh and Blood world. But after his match, I went against I believe Sean, um, and he was really good Bolton player. Um, and then I went up against Jimmy. I lost to Jimmy, who ultimately won the whole thing. The Bolton build he had was very interesting to me. I'm trying to think of more of how to build around it because it seems like more of a chain type of constant aggressive mid range type of deck. And I think that overall in the tournament, Bolton just came out of nowhere, and people weren't really expecting him. And I think that's a really common theme that you're going to see over and over and over in Flesh and Blood, any trading card game that you see out there. People are going to have a meta, and then what happens is just someone comes out of nowhere, plays a hero a certain way, and it just changes the game going forward. And I've heard after that a lot of people are interested in that type of build for Bolton. Um, After that game, I forgot who I played last. I think I played Jimmy last, and I lost that match. So I was 4-2. I was in the bubble. I was worried because a lot of people were 4-2. So let me explain this how it works. So I think there's one person who was 6-0. Like they had 6 wins, 0 losses in Swiss. I believe it was Alex LaPlume. I think that was. I think he pulled it off with 6 wins, 0 losses, which is very impressive. Then we have the 5-1 crew, right? 5 wins, 1 loss, and there's a really good amount of 5 wins, 1 loss because there's like 52 people in the Cloak and Blaster tournament. But then there's like I think 3 or 4 4-2s, and I was so lucky I was able to get in 8th place overall, which put me into top 8. And at that point in time, I versed Alex LaPlume, a really good buddy of mine. We had a really good match. Overall, I think that what I took away from it is I probably needed to be a little bit more defensive early on because the guy can just play a really damn good game. I mean, I didn't see any errors from his part. He just played a very clean game. And there's at one point in the game early on was like, oh, I'll take a little bit damage, but I'm going to cripple and crush him with Dominate. Yeah, and this is going to totally throw him off. But lo and behold, he had a red unmovable in his arsenal, so he was like completely fine. He didn't have to suffer the crush effect, and that really shut me down. That was excellent play on his part. And then after that, in the middle of the game, I was a little bit down, so I was like, okay, like down in health points wise. So I tried to pull out a command and conquer and threaten a pummel, but he wasn't. He totally saw through me. He just blocked for 6. I didn't have the pummel, and yeah, no, he was able to just whittle me down after that, and he just played very clean. And after the game, I was so happy that he got the victory because I knew that got him the ticket to Nats and everything. So really great game. I had a great time overall. So that was kind of like the progression of me going through the events. Just want to give a huge shout out as well to Matt from the Fab Arsenal. I'll put a link down below to his YouTube channel. He actually videotaped and commentated this whole thing. So that match that I was just talking about with Alex, I'm gonna put a link down below that has the exact timestamp of me and Alex playing the game. and you can see how it went. I thought it went really great. I had a great match. Every time I play Alex, I'm learning some new things, and I'm just really improving the level of gameplay that I'm doing. Because I mean, he's just a really good competitor, and I just want to talk about that a little bit. I'm in Florida. Florida has a lot of really good Flesh and Blood players, and at one point you could say, "Oh, well, Bronson, that sucks." You have to go against really good players. Honestly, man, it's a blessing. It is a complete blessing that I'm able to play against such high level players here and get better and better and hone my skills. Because, I know that, sometimes it's hard to find those competitive games. And honestly, I, even in loss, I've had great games, just really cool games that I've just taken things and learned from. Um, Overall, I think the biggest thing in the meta that I've seen with Flesh and Blood and how I'm playing Bravo is if I'm facing a deck that is going to be like a complete aggressor and just not care about damage and they soak it up like Chain or I think some level of Bolton's like the Raiden build, you just have to try to heal in the very beginning and then just try to block out as you can and maybe possibly take advantage of turns where they kind of whiffed and had bad variance, possibly, that's like I think less than 2% of the time, but most of the time you're just blocking out until you get to the end game, and then you come in with your six hammer and you try to whittle down at that point after you've chewed through their good cards. But it's tough, I don't know if that's gonna work in the future against certain builds, and I'll have to take it from there. But other than that, I just think that if I'm versing somebody who is doing the OTK version of Bolton, which was Nick Murphy, who's actually second place in the tournament, I just have to be the aggressor. I think I have to go on the offensive, try to get command and conquer pummels out, try to get crippling, crush, dominate. I have to be more aggressive to strip their hand so they don't have their Exodia hand to just really completely wreck you. And if you haven't seen that deck in action, it is just absurd, man. Just if you have three Lumina Ascensions, apparently you just do this crazy turn with the sabers where you constantly just attack, 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 attack. And from what I've heard about it, you can just do like 30 to 40 damage in one turn. It's very gross and effective, but it's hard. You have to get like this Exodia hand, like this perfect hand, but then you absolutely just wreck your opponent. So if you see those types of decks, right, where Bolton with Sabers has like, low health and the opponent has higher health, that does not matter at all, really. Honestly, it's really up to like, do they have that hand? Because they could take, damage throughout the whole game and get chipped down, but then once they get that really good hand and they go off on you and do, I don't know, 35 damage in a turn, yes, your opponent might block out, but guess what? After that, you have the advantage because you have a full hand, and they have to draw up, so you got tempo back, and you can usually push to victory there. But I uh, I just really like how the game's made, and geez, it's so much fun. I've had so much fun playing, and I think if I can, depart a little bit a wisdom here on top of this on a new subject is, draws, right? Draws are scary to me. I am mortally scared of draws. If you've played Blitz online, like I've played on Blitz online, I've gotten a lot of draws because I'm playing Bravo. I block stuff out, and it's just tough to me. And I have to get better as a competitive player of learning when to check the time, make sure we're going at a good pace. If we're not going at a good pace, being like, hey man, like we got to pick it up, like both of us, like I need to play faster, we both need to play faster so that we don't get a draw. Because if you look at the top 8 bracket, right, if you went if you went 4 wins 1 loss and a draw versus 4 wins 1 loss and 1 loss, like 4 wins and 2 losses, there's no way you're going to get into top 8 when you hit that bubble. You're completely done. The only way is if you get literally 5 wins and 1 draw, which was pretty hard. Like you have to lose no other game, and that's like your only draw there. So at the end of the day, I'm extremely scared of draws. And personally, I really want to make sure that I'm checking the time clock, make sure everything's good there, and then I'm not going to get into that situation. Because when you're in that situation, even if your opponent has like a really low deck and they have like 2 cards in their deck and you have like, 10 cards in their deck, technically you're not allowed to say, and this is true, and I understand why this is, but you're not supposed to negotiate at all. You're not supposed to say, hey, you're gonna lose like in 3 turns. I have this. Can you just lose? You can't do the negotiation thing. So before you get to time, you really need to figure out how to, get the game moving so you don't go to time. And I'm just saying this wisdom because that's what I'm learning. But ultimately, other than that, like the game is just superb. I mean, I'm just even having fun just talking to people during game and having fun and just it's just a complete blast. And I'm just really lucky to have such a great local scene. And a big shout out again to Matt from the Fab Arsenal. He works at Cloak and Blaster. He was the judge, TO, and the person with the webcam videotaping the whole event. And it's just such a big commitment of time and energy from him that really just made it go really smoothly and made the whole event really great. And you know, I want to transition it to, for me overall, I am not a competitive player. I'm not really, I don't feel like the competitive nature in my body. I'm just really chill. And, I like to have fun. And if the game win, great. If the game lose, okay too. But Flesh and Blood has really made me want to compete a lot more, man. It's got my ass out there into the games, and in this game, in the Cloak and Blaster tournament, was cool. Is top 8, you got a cold foil hero, man. So I was able to get Bolton, the cold foil hero, which was really cool. Like it's so neat that you can compete, and if you do good, you can like get some really cool prize. And what was crazy too is if you got any other place out there, you got like one of the tokens, not one of the tokens but one of the prism auras in cold foil, which was awesome. I think it was like old Ode to Wrath or something else other than that. But it's amazing how you can win these great prizes just for competing. I mean, even if you got into the top 32, you got some cold foil card and it was like a $20 tournament. It was a really, that's really good prize support. But I just love how I'm competing. I'm doing my best. Win or lose, it's all good. I definitely am going to try to attend at least 3 more Road to Nationals. My big my big goal, wait for it, is 4th place. I want to get 4th place. I want to get a ticket to nationals. That would just mean a lot to me because I think it is the first national tournament for Flesh and Blood, or maybe the second. I definitely know it's the first as the game has grown this big. Um, I don't know. That would just mean a lot to me if I can get it. Hopefully, I don't have to go the experience route, but I definitely want to try to compete in at least like 2 or 3 more Road to National events, and hopefully get that 4th place. And you know, I think that the game has so much potential with the metas and stuff, and I definitely started out with Bravo, and I net decked. I took a deck, had it, played with it, and then I started tweaking it and playing more people. And yeah, no, I just got something that really works for me and having a good time, man. So, overall that's what's happened in my life, and that's kind of like a road to national experience. Again, I'll put a link down below to the video of me playing with Alex LaPlume. Really great guy, awesome player. I had a blast playing with him, and like that game in particular was really cool. And I've watched it. I watched it again the other night, and like it was just cool reminiscing about that night. So yeah, just want to say thank you to everyone involved. Thanks for Legend Story Studios for putting on these events. These are the events where you're engaging physically with other people. People are engaging physically out there. It's that dentist system type model, and I think it's really going to be great for the game. There's a lot of people going to come into this thing. I mean, there's a lot of money in it for the tournaments and everything, and I hope that the game grows from it. So that's about it, man. Thanks for watching.